The Breen attack on Epsilon Prime. The quiet of Epsilon Prime was shattered by the thunderous roar of alien warships descending from the sky. The Breen, a ruthless alien species known for their brutality, had arrived without warning. The peaceful colony had no time to prepare, no chance to defend itself. Plasma torpedoes rained down from the Breen warships, vaporizing buildings and turning the once thriving human settlement into a hellscape of fire and destruction. Captain Nicholas Walker stood on the bridge of the TSS Phantom, watching in horror as the alien bombardment decimated the colony below. His heart clenched as he saw entire families, including children, obliterated in white-hot explosions. The cold, calculated cruelty of the Breen was evident in every blast, every scream that echoed through the comms. "Give me a damage assessment," Walker barked at the ship's AI, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. 85% of colonial structures destroyed. The AI responded, its tone almost sorrowful. Estimated loss of life, 412 and climbing. Walker's fists tightened at his sides. Over 400 lives, extinguished in mere minutes. These were people who had come to Epsilon Prime seeking a new life, a fresh start among the stars. Now, their dreams were reduced to ashes. As he watched, a small escape shuttle tried to flee the carnage. It didn't stand a chance. A bolt of plasma from the Breen warship lanced out, disintegrating the shuttle in an instant. The image of the shuttle exploding in midair seared into Walker's mind, fueling the cold fury building in his chest. "They're killing civilians," Lieutenant Decker shouted, her voice shaking with anger. "Unarmed men, women, children." Walker's resolve hardened. The Breen had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity's will to survive, their capacity for vengeance. Earth had faced countless threats before, but this was different. This was an unprovoked massacre, an act of sheer barbarity that demanded a response. "Send a Priority 1 message to Earth Command," Walker ordered, his voice now calm and steely. "Inform them we have hostile first contact with an alien aggressor. The colony is lost. Request permission to activate the Ancient Fleet." The mention of the Ancient Fleet sent a ripple of tension through the bridge crew. The Ancient Fleet was humanity's last line of defense, a secret armada of warships from a bygone era, hidden away for decades. These ships were relics of a time when humanity had fought bitterly to secure its place in the galaxy. They were powerful, terrifying weapons, capable of unimaginable destruction. Walker had never thought he would be the one to unleash them. But the Breen had left him no choice. Today, they would learn the true might of humanity's war machine. "Decker, Hansen, Ramirez with me," Walker commanded, grabbing his pulse rifle and heading for the drop pod bay. His hand-picked team of elite soldiers fell in step behind him, their faces grim and determined. The drop pod hit the ground with bone-jarring force, the impact reverberating through Walker's body. The hatch blew open, and he leaped out, rifle at the ready. The scene that greeted him was one of utter devastation. Buildings lay in ruins, bodies were strewn across the streets, and the air was thick with the stench of burning flesh. But it was the sight of a young boy, no more than 6 years old, lying lifeless in his mother's arms, that ignited a fire in Walker's soul. The boy's small body was charred from the plasma fire, his innocent life snuffed out in the blink of an eye. The mother, her face streaked with tears and soot, looked up at Walker, her eyes pleading. "Please," she whispered, her voice raw with grief. "Make them pay for this." Walker knelt beside her, taking the boy's still warm hand in his. The weight of the child's death settled heavily on his heart, fueling a cold, righteous anger. "I swear to you," he said, his voice low and fierce, "I will rain down hell on the Breen for what they've done here today. Your son's death will be avenged." As Walker and his team evacuated the survivors, a Breen soldier emerged from the smoke, its plasma rifle blazing. Without hesitation, Walker charged, ducking under the searing bolts and tackling the alien to the ground. They grappled, rolling through the dirt as they traded vicious blows. The Breen was strong, But Walker was driven by pure, unadulterated rage. He wrenched the rifle from the alien's grasp and bashed its skull in with the butt of the weapon. Breathing hard, Walker clipped the rifle to his belt and grabbed the communicator from the Breen's lifeless body. They'd barely made it back to the Phantom before the orbital bombardment began in earnest. As the ship pulled away from Epsilon Prime, Walker watched the colony vanish in a blaze of plasma fire, the weight of the dead child heavy on his soul. The ancient fleet awakens. Deep within the bowels of the Earth, in a fortified bunker known only as the Crucible, a lone technician sat at his console, his eyes wide with disbelief as he replayed Captain Walker's transmission. The message from Epsilon Prime was a grim reminder of the Breen's ruthless aggression, and the technician's hands shook as he forwarded the communication to Admiral Ethan Reeves. Admiral Reeves, a battle-hardened veteran of countless skirmishes, felt his blood run cold as he watched the footage of the slaughtered colony. The image of the dead child, cradled in his mother's arms, burned into his mind, stirring a fury he hadn't felt in decades. He knew what had to be done. "Those Breen bastards have no idea what they've just unleashed," Reeves growled, his voice low and dangerous. He turned to his second-in-command, Commander Olivia Prescott, his eyes burning with fierce determination. "Activate the ancient fleet. It's time we remind the galaxy why you don't mess with humanity." Beneath the surface of the moon, in a hangar long hidden from prying eyes, the dormant ancient fleet began to stir. Row upon row of warships, each a relic of humanity's violent past, emerged from their slumber. Dust fell away from their hulking metal frames as engines roared to life, the very ground quaking with their power. Among these titans of war stood the TSS Retribution, a dreadnought of unparalleled might. Its hull gleamed under the artificial lights, the scars of past battles still visible on its armored surface. Devastating graviton cannons, capable of ripping apart the fabric of space itself, sat ready to unleash hell upon the enemy. Impenetrable energy shields shimmered into existence, a silent promise of the ship's invulnerability. The ancient fleet was ready for deployment. But before the full might of humanity could be unleashed, critical intelligence was needed. Walker and his team were tasked with a crucial mission: infiltrate a Breen communications hub on Vac Prime using the captured communicator to gain access. The information they gathered would be vital in the coming war. Walker accepted the mission without hesitation. The image of the dead child on Epsilon Prime was a constant reminder of the stakes. This was his chance to strike back, to make the Breen pay for their crimes. The Phantom slipped through the Breen defenses like a wraith, the stolen codes granting them undetected passage. They landed on Vac Prime under the cover of darkness, the communications hub looming before them like a slumbering beast. With his stolen plasma rifle at the ready, Walker led the charge, his team following close behind. They breached the hub's perimeter with ruthless efficiency, silently dispatching the guards and moving deeper into the facility. But as they delved further, the alarms began to blare. The Breen had discovered their presence, and all hell broke loose. Breen soldiers poured into the corridors, plasma bolts filling the air. But Walker and his team fought like demons, their weapons spitting death with every trigger pull. They pushed forward, leaving a trail of Breen corpses in their wake. In the chaos of battle, Walker found himself face to face with a towering Breen commander. The alien's eyes burned with rage as it charged, its massive fists seeking to crush the human interloper. But Walker was fueled by the memory of the dead child, his fury driving him to fight with a ferocity that matched the Breen's brute strength. They traded blows, the Breen's raw power threatening to overwhelm Walker. But he refused to yield. In a final, desperate move, Walker wrapped his hands around the Breen's throat and squeezed with all his might. The alien's neck snapped with a sickening crack, and Walker's rage finally found an outlet. He stood over the fallen Breen commander, his chest heaving with exertion and anger. The hub's alarms continued to wail, but Walker's focus was singular: retrieve the critical intelligence and make the Breen pay for what they had done. With the commander dispatched, Walker and his team pressed on, fighting their way through the facility. They encountered fierce resistance, but their determination and training allowed them to push through. Finally, they'd reached the central control room. The Breen communications hub was filled with complex machinery and a maze of consoles. Walker's team worked swiftly, using the captured communicator to hack into the Breen network and gather as much intelligence as they could. "Move quickly," Walker ordered. "We need to get this information back to Admiral Reeves." As they downloaded the critical data, the Breen forces regrouped and launched a final assault on the hub. Walker's team fought off wave after wave of attackers, their focus unshaken by the chaos around them. The control room was a cacophony of noise and flashing lights, a stark contrast to the grim determination on Walker's face. Once they had secured the necessary information, they made their way back to the Phantom. The retreat was perilous, with Breen soldiers closing in from all sides. Walker's team fought their way through the facility's corridors, finally reaching the landing pad where the Phantom awaited. They boarded the ship and took off just as the Breen forces were about to overwhelm their position. The Phantom soared through the atmosphere, leaving Vac Prime behind. The mission had been a success, but the cost had been high. Walker looked at the data they had recovered, the information vital for the coming conflict. It was a small victory, but one that would play a crucial role in humanity's fight against the Breen. As they made their way back to the Earth, the enormity of the upcoming war weighed heavily on Walker's mind. The ancient fleet was preparing for its deployment, and the galaxy was on the brink of a conflict that would reshape the course of history. Humanity was about to unleash its full wrath upon the Breen, and the consequences of their actions would be felt across the stars. The Phantom returned to Earth, where Admiral Reeves awaited the crucial data. The atmosphere in the command center was tense as the information was analyzed. The Breen's plans and strategies were laid bare, revealing their weaknesses and intentions. The ancient fleet was now poised to strike with precision and power, ready to exact vengeance for the atrocities committed on Epsilon Prime. Reeves reviewed the intelligence, his expression grim. "We have the information we need. The Breen's invasion plans are detailed here. We can use this to our advantage." He turned to Walker, who stood at attention, his face etched with the fatigue and resolve of a man who had seen too much. "Captain, you and your team have done a remarkable job. The ancient fleet will be deployed according to this data. We will strike hard and fast." Walker nodded, his thoughts still haunted by the image of the dead child. "We'll make sure the Breen understand the cost of their actions." As the ancient fleet prepared for its assault, the galaxy held its breath. The Breen, confident in their conquest, had no idea of the storm that was about to descend upon them. The fleets of humanity, armed with the power of the past and the fury of the present, were ready to fight. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of both sides. Humanity's resolve was unshakable, their determination fueled by the loss of their own. The ancient fleet would rise from the shadows, bringing with it a reckoning that would echo through the stars. The dawn of retribution. The vast expanse of space was a canvas of darkness, speckled with distant stars. The ancient fleet, a testament to humanity's resilience and technological prowess, was ready for deployment. The ships, some of the most formidable ever created, were now primed for a mission that would alter the galaxy's balance. On the bridge of the TSS Retribution, Admiral Reeves reviewed the final preparations for the fleet's departure. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation and tension. The breach of Epsilon Prime and the subsequent mission to Vac Prime had galvanized the fleet's readiness, and the time for retribution had come. "All ships report readiness," Commander Prescott announced, her voice steady and calm. "We're set to deploy." Reeves nodded, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of the fleet. "Let's make sure the Breen understand the price of their actions. Prepare for warp jump." The Retribution, along with the rest of the ancient fleet, engaged its warp drives. The stars blurred into streaks of light as the fleet jumped into hyperspace, bound for the Breen homeworld. The journey through the void was a silent testament to the resolve of the human race. each ship carrying the weight of vengeance and justice. As the fleet emerged from warp space, the Breen homeworld loomed before them, a dark sphere of malice. The Breen had fortified their planet, expecting the human response to be slow and uncoordinated. They were about to be proven wrong. The ancient fleet moved into position, the vast array of warships aligning themselves for the assault. The Retribution led the charge, its graviton cannons primed and ready. The Breen forces, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the fleet, scrambled to mount a defense. "Initiate the attack," Reeves commanded, his voice resolute. The Retribution fired the first salvo, the graviton cannons unleashing a devastating barrage that tore through the Breen defenses. The other ships followed suit, their weapons unleashing the symphony of destruction. The Breen homeworld was soon engulfed in a maelstrom of fire and chaos. On the bridge of the Phantom, Walker and his team watched the attack unfold. The sight of the Breen homeworld being ravaged by the ancient fleet was both exhilarating and sobering. The weight of their mission and the loss they had suffered was evident in every glance, every breath. "Captain, we're receiving the signal from Earth Command," Decker said, her voice breaking the silence. Walker nodded and activated the comm. "This is Captain Walker. What's the status?" "Excellent work, Captain," Admiral Reeves replied. "The Breen defenses are collapsing. The fleet is achieving its objectives. Your team's efforts have been crucial in this victory." Walker's jaw tightened, a mix of satisfaction and lingering grief on his face. "We still have a long way to go. This isn't over until the Breen understand the full measure of their mistake." As the battle raged on, the ancient fleet continued its relentless assault. The Breen forces, once confident in their superiority, were now reeling under the onslaught. The fleet's precision strikes and overwhelming firepower were a testament to humanity's resolve and ingenuity. The battle for the Breen homeworld was a turning point in the conflict. The ancient fleet's devastating attack sent a clear message. Humanity would not be cowed or defeated. The galaxy watched as the Breen, once so sure of their dominance, were brought to their knees. In the midst of the chaos, Walker and his team prepared for the next phase of their mission. The intelligence they had gathered would be used to dismantle the Breen's war capabilities and secure humanity's place in the galaxy. The fight was far from over, but the tide had turned. The ancient fleet's retribution was a harbinger of change, a signal that humanity's spirit was unbreakable. As the smoke cleared and the fires died down, the galaxy knew one thing for certain. When humanity was provoked, their response was swift and devastating. Echoes of vengeance. The aftermath of the battle was both a victory and a somber reminder of the cost of war. The Breen homeworld lay in ruins, a testament to the power and fury of the ancient fleet. The once proud Breen Empire was now a shadow of its former self, its people reeling from the devastating assault. Admiral Reeves, standing on the bridge of the Retribution, surveyed the scene with a mix of satisfaction and reflection. The fleet had achieved its objectives, but the cost of the conflict was evident in the scars left on the battlefield. "Status report," Reeves commanded, his voice steady. "Damage to the Breen homeworld is extensive," Commander Prescott reported. "Their defenses have been decimated, and their capacity to wage war has been severely diminished. However, there are still pockets of resistance." Reeves nodded, his expression grim. "We'll continue to press our advantage. Make sure the Breen understand that their actions have consequences." On the Phantom, Walker and his team were debriefed on their mission. The intelligence they had gathered was crucial in dismantling the Breen's war infrastructure and ensuring that the Breen could not quickly recover. "Your efforts have made a significant impact," Admiral Reeves said, addressing Walker directly. "The data you provided has been instrumental in our strategic planning. The Breen will find it difficult to rebuild their forces in the wake of this assault." Walker nodded, his thoughts still focused on the mission. "We need to ensure that the Breen understand the full extent of their defeat. We must dismantle their ability to wage war against us in the future." The fleet continued its operations, targeting key Breen installations and infrastructure. The objective was not only to retaliate, but also to ensure that the Breen could not pose a threat to humanity in the foreseeable future. As the campaign continued, Walker and his team worked tirelessly, their resolve unshaken by the challenges they faced. The image of the dead child from Epsilon Prime remained a constant reminder of why they fought. Their mission was not just about vengeance, but also about securing a future where such atrocities could not be repeated. The galaxy began to settle into a new balance. The Breen, humbled and battered, faced a long period of recovery. Humanity had proven its strength and resolve, and the ancient fleet's devastating response had sent a clear message. Humanity would not be defeated or intimidated. As the dust settled and the fleet returned to Earth, there was a sense of cautious optimism. The war had been hard-fought, and the cost had been high. But the lessons learned and the strength demonstrated would shape humanity's place in the galaxy for years to come. Walker and his team, having fulfilled their mission, looked toward the future with a mix of hope and determination. The scars of the conflict would remain, but the resolve to protect and defend would never wane. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and emerged stronger, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The echoes of retribution would resonate through the stars, a testament to the strength and spirit of a species that refused to be broken. The galaxy had witnessed the fury of humanity, and the legacy of their vengeance would endure, a reminder of the cost of provoking a force united by purpose and resolve. The rebirth of peace. The ancient fleet's campaign had reshaped the galactic landscape. The Breen, their aggressive ambitions curtailed, and their war infrastructure dismantled, were left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. The once mighty empire was now in disarray, its people struggling to come to terms with their diminished status. Back on Earth, the mood was a mix of relief and reflection. The war was over, but the scars it had left on both the victors and the vanquished were profound. The planet's leaders convened to discuss the path forward, ensuring that the hard-won peace would be enduring and that the lessons of the conflict would not be forgotten. Admiral Reeves addressed the assembled officials and military leaders. "We have achieved a significant victory, but we must remember that this war was not just about retaliation. It was about safeguarding our future and ensuring that such atrocities are never repeated." Walker and his team, now back on Earth, were honored for their bravery and contributions. The weight of their experiences and the personal losses they had endured were recognized with deep respect and gratitude. They had been on the front lines of humanity's response, and their efforts had been instrumental in turning the tide of the conflict. "The battle is won," Walker said during a debriefing, his voice carrying the weight of both triumph and sorrow. "But our duty is far from over. We must work to build a lasting peace and ensure that we remain vigilant against any future threats." As the planet began to heal, efforts were made to establish diplomatic channels with the Breen. The goal was not just to ensure that they would not pose a threat again, but also to offer a path toward reconciliation and cooperation. The Breen, battered and weary, were open to discussions, recognizing that their aggressive stance had led them to a dire situation. The diplomatic negotiations were fraught with tension, but there was a shared desire for a stable future. The discussions were guided by the principles of mutual respect and the lessons learned from the conflict. Both sides understood that the road to peace would be long and challenging, but it was a necessary path to avoid future bloodshed. Humanity's resolve to prevent future conflicts was evident in their efforts to strengthen their defenses and enhance their intelligence capabilities. The ancient fleet, while having achieved its immediate objectives, was now being integrated into a broader strategy to safeguard against any emerging threats. Walker and his team, now transitioning to roles in strategic planning and defense, played a crucial role in shaping this new era. Their experiences on the front lines had given them invaluable insights into the nature of conflict and the importance of preparedness. In the months following the war, humanity saw a period of reconstruction and renewal. The devastation left by the Breen's invasion was being addressed, and efforts were made to rebuild the affected colonies and restore normalcy. The resilience and determination of the human race were evident in every rebuilding effort, every new initiative aimed at strengthening their position in the galaxy. The Breen, for their part, began to rebuild their society under the shadow of their defeat. They faced significant challenges, but there was a growing recognition of the need to change their approach to interstellar relations. The conflict had been a harsh lesson, and the prospect of a lasting peace with humanity offered a glimmer of hope. A new alliance. As time passed, the once hostile relationship between humanity and the Breen began to shift. The initial distrust and animosity gradually gave way to tentative cooperation. Both sides recognized the need for a stable and peaceful coexistence, and efforts were made to formalize this new relationship. The establishment of the Galactic Peace Accord marked a significant milestone. The accord was designed to promote diplomatic relations, trade, and mutual security between humanity and the Breen. It included provisions for joint scientific endeavors and cultural exchanges, aimed at fostering understanding and collaboration. Admiral Reeves and Captain Walker played pivotal roles in negotiating the terms of the accord. Their experiences during the conflict provided them with a unique perspective on the importance of building bridges rather than perpetuating cycles of violence. The first joint mission under the accord involved a collaborative project to explore and map uncharted regions of space. This mission symbolized the new era of cooperation and was seen as a testament to the potential for positive relations between the two species. Walker, now serving as a liaison between the human and Breen delegations, found himself in a role that required diplomacy and strategic acumen. His experiences in the conflict had prepared him for the complex task of fostering cooperation and addressing any lingering suspicions. The mission to explore uncharted space was a success, leading to several important discoveries. The joint efforts of human and Breen scientists yielded valuable data that benefited both species. The shared achievements helped to solidify the partnership and build trust. The cultural exchanges initiated by the accord also proved to be beneficial. Human and Breen artists, musicians, and scholars came together to share their traditions and learn from one another. These interactions helped to humanize the once feared enemy and build a foundation of mutual respect. Despite the progress, challenges remained. The memories of the conflict and the pain of the past were not easily forgotten. Both sides continued to address the lingering issues and worked to ensure that the peace they had achieved would be enduring. Legacy of unity. Years after the conflict, the legacy of the ancient fleet and the Galactic Peace Accord continued to shape the relationship between humanity and the Breen. The once hostile factions had transformed into partners, working together to address common challenges and explore new frontiers. The Galactic Peace Accord had established a framework for cooperation, but it was the ongoing efforts of individuals like Walker and the dedication of both species that ensured its success. The legacy of their actions was evident in the continued collaboration and the shared goals that transcended their past animosities. Humanity's experience in the conflict had led to significant advancements in technology and strategy. The lessons learned from the war had strengthened their resolve and prepared them for future challenges. The ancient fleet, now a symbol of humanity's resilience and strength, had become an integral part of their defense strategy. The Breen, having faced the consequences of their aggression, were working to rebuild their society with a renewed focus on peaceful coexistence. The efforts to integrate into the galactic community had brought about positive changes and a commitment to diplomacy and cooperation. The story of the conflict and the subsequent peace was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the possibility of redemption and growth. The galaxy, once a battleground of rivalry and destruction, had become a place where collaboration and understanding could flourish. Walker and his team, reflecting on their journey, found solace in the knowledge that their efforts had contributed to a better future. The scars of the past were a reminder of the cost of conflict, but the progress achieved through unity and cooperation was a beacon of hope for the galaxy. The legacy of the ancient fleet and the Galactic Peace Accord would endure as a reminder of the transformative power of resilience and the potential for positive change. As humanity and the Breen continued to work together, they forged a path toward a brighter and more harmonious future, ensuring that the lessons of the past would guide them toward a better tomorrow. The dawn of a new era. In the aftermath of the ancient fleet's devastating counterattack, the galaxy began to stir with whispers of a new era. Humanity had unleashed a force not seen for centuries, and the Breen Empire, once so confident in their power, now faced the consequences of their brutal aggression. The once feared Breen warlords, now crippled by the might of Earth's ancient weaponry, had been forced into retreat. Their ambitions lay in ruins, and the scars of their defeat were visible across the galaxy. A new alliance forms. On Earth, the victory had not been without cost. The aftermath of the conflict left humanity in a state of reflection and resolve. Captain Walker, hailed as a hero, found himself at the heart of a rebuilding effort that aimed to forge a new path for humanity. The ancient fleet had proven its worth, but its legacy was not merely in its firepower, it was in the unity it inspired. In the months following the war, Captain Walker and his team worked tirelessly to establish diplomatic channels with the remaining Breen factions. The war had shown that strength alone could not secure lasting peace. Diplomacy, understanding, and cooperation were crucial. The Breen, although battered, were willing to negotiate. The peace talks were arduous, filled with mistrust and old grudges, but the groundwork was laid for a fragile truce. The legacy of the fallen. The memory of those who had fallen in the conflict was honored in grand ceremonies. Monuments were erected, and memorials dedicated to the lives lost in the fight for survival. Among these, a special monument was created to commemorate the young boy whose tragic death had sparked the war. The boy's image, carved in stone, served as a poignant reminder of the price of peace and the resolve required to achieve it. Admiral Reeves, now a symbol of the resilience and strength of humanity, addressed the world in a powerful speech. His words resonated with hope and determination, emphasizing the need for vigilance and unity. "We have shown the galaxy what it means to cross humanity," he declared. "But let this also be a lesson that peace is not merely the absence of war, it is the presence of understanding and respect." Forging a path forward. As the Breen began to rebuild their own societies, they faced challenges of their own. The once powerful empire was now fractured, and many factions sought to distance themselves from the aggression that had characterized their recent past. This period of instability presented an opportunity for humanity to aid in the reconstruction and to offer support where needed. Humanity's role in the galaxy shifted from a dominant force to a leader in diplomatic and humanitarian efforts. The ancient fleet, while still formidable, was now seen as a symbol of humanity's commitment to protecting peace rather than waging endless war. The focus was on creating alliances, fostering mutual growth, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past were not repeated. The future beckons. As peace slowly took root, Captain Walker and his team remained vigilant. The galaxy was still a place of uncertainty, but the lessons learned from their harrowing experiences shaped their approach to the future. The once unimaginable peace between humanity and the Breen served as a testament to the power of resilience and the possibility of redemption. In a quiet moment, Walker stood on the bridge of the TSS Phantom, gazing out into the stars. The galaxy, once a theater of war, now held the promise of a brighter future. The battles fought had left their mark, but they had also paved the way for new opportunities and collaborations. As the stars shone brightly in the vast expanse, Walker knew that while the ancient fleet had played a crucial role in securing peace, the real victory lay in the unity and hope that had emerged from the ashes of conflict. The future of humanity and its place in the galaxy was no longer defined by war, but by the possibilities of cooperation and mutual respect. And so, the story of humanity's struggle and triumph became a beacon of hope for all who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. The galaxy, forever changed, now looked towards a future where peace was not just a goal but a reality, and where the legacy of the past guided the way forward. Echoes of the past. With the fragile peace taking hold, the galaxy began to shift towards a new era of reconstruction and cooperation. However, not everyone was ready to accept the changes. The scars of war ran deep, and remnants of old grudges and unresolved conflicts threatened to unravel a hard-won peace. Unseen threats. In the depths of the galaxy, far from the prying eyes of both human and Breen authorities, a shadowy faction known as the Neo-Breen emerged. This group, composed of radical elements who refused to accept the peace, began to plot their resurgence. They saw the current peace as an opportunity to strengthen their influence and undermine the new order. The Neo-Breen were not content with merely resisting the peace process. They sought to exploit the lingering animosities and weaknesses left by the recent conflict. Their plans involved sabotaging diplomatic efforts, inciting unrest among allied factions, and conducting covert operations to destabilize the fragile peace. The mysterious signals. Back on Earth, the TSS Phantom, now under the command of Captain Walker, was tasked with monitoring the stability of the galaxy and responding to any threats that emerged. One day, the ship's sensors picked up unusual signals emanating from a remote region of space. These signals, encrypted and intermittent, seemed to be designed to avoid detection. Walker and his team, still haunted by the memory of their recent battles, were immediately on high alert. They knew that in a galaxy filled with uncertainty, even the smallest threat could have far-reaching consequences. The Phantom set course for the source of the signals, determined to uncover the nature of this potential new threat. The secret rendezvous. As the Phantom approached the source of the signals, the crew prepared for what might lie ahead. The signals led them to an uncharted system, where they discovered a hidden outpost. The outpost, camouflaged and heavily fortified, seemed to be a base of operations for the Neo-Breen. Walker and his elite team infiltrated the outpost under the cover of darkness. The facility was a maze of corridors and hidden chambers, filled with advanced technology and guarded by Breen soldiers. As they moved through the outpost, they gathered intelligence and discovered that the Neo-Breen were working on a new weapon, a device capable of disrupting communications and potentially reigniting conflict across the galaxy. A race against time. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Walker and his team knew they had to act quickly. The Neo-Breen's weapon had the potential to unravel the peace and throw the galaxy into chaos once more. They planned a daring operation to disable the weapon and destroy the outpost before it could be used. In a high-stakes battle, the Phantom's crew faced fierce resistance from the Neo-Breen. The skirmishes were intense, with advanced weaponry and guerrilla tactics employed by the radical faction. Walker, driven by the need to protect the peace he had fought so hard to secure, fought with renewed determination. Victory and reflection. After a grueling confrontation, Walker and his team succeeded in neutralizing the Neo-Breen threat. The weapon was destroyed, and the outpost was reduced to debris. The remnants of the Neo-Breen faction were scattered, their plans foiled, at least for the time being. As the Phantom returned to Earth, the crew reflected on the lessons learned from their recent encounter. The galaxy was still a place of great complexity and danger, but their success in thwarting the Neo-Breen's plans reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining peace. Walker, in particular, found a renewed sense of purpose in safeguarding the future of humanity and its allies. Looking forward, the threat of the Neo-Breen had been a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead. While peace had been achieved, it was clear that vigilance and cooperation were essential for its preservation. The galaxy, now aware of the hidden dangers that lurked in the shadows, prepared to face these challenges with a united front. Captain Walker and his team continued their mission, not just as defenders but as champions of a new era. Their experiences had shaped their resolve, and they remained dedicated to building a future where understanding and respect took precedence over conflict. As the stars shone brightly once more, the galaxy moved forward with cautious optimism. The echoes of the past served as a reminder of the cost of peace, and the commitment to a brighter future fueled the efforts of all who sought to build a better tomorrow. Shadows of betrayal. The unseen hand. The victory over the Neo-Breen was a significant achievement, But the galaxy was far from secure. The peace was fragile, and beneath the surface, a new threat was beginning to stir. Unbeknownst to Captain Walker and his crew, an even darker force had been quietly maneuvering to exploit the chaos left in the wake of the Neobrine's defeat. In the hidden corridors of the Interstellar Council, influential members with agendas of their own began to see the situation as an opportunity. These individuals, motivated by personal ambitions and clandestine motives, sought to manipulate the galaxy's political landscape to their advantage. Their actions, though subtle, could have far-reaching implications for the delicate balance of power. A new mission. Captain Walker was called to a high-level briefing by the Interstellar Council. The meeting was held in a secure chamber, away from the public eye, and was shrouded in secrecy. The Council had received intelligence suggesting that a faction within their ranks was working against the interests of the galaxy. They suspected that these traitors were attempting to destabilize the peace process for their gain. Walker was tasked with investigating this internal threat. The mission was highly sensitive, and the details were scant. All Walker knew was that he had to operate in the shadows, uncovering the truth while navigating the treacherous waters of political intrigue. The gravity of the situation was not lost on him. If the traitors succeeded, the consequences could be catastrophic. Unmasking the traitors. Walker and his team began their covert investigation. They delved into the Council's operations, carefully analyzing communications, financial transactions, and other critical data. Their efforts revealed a network of corruption and deceit, with key figures secretly undermining the peace efforts for their benefit. The investigation led them to an influential council member, Senator Lysander, whose connections and wealth provided the means for his machinations. Lysander's actions were fueled by a desire for power and control, and he was using his position to orchestrate a series of covert operations aimed at creating discord and conflict. The web of deception. As Walker and his team gathered evidence, they encountered numerous obstacles. Lysander's network was well protected, with layers of deception and misinformation designed to mislead and confuse. Every lead seemed to lead to another maze of intrigue, making it difficult to discern who could be trusted. The team worked tirelessly, using every resource at their disposal to piece together the puzzle. Their efforts included infiltrating meetings, intercepting communications, and even going undercover to gather first-hand information. Despite the challenges, their perseverance began to pay off. A dangerous confrontation. The culmination of their investigation led them to a clandestine meeting where Lysander was orchestrating a significant deal with a previously unknown group of mercenaries. The deal involved a large shipment of advanced weaponry, intended to be used in a planned uprising that would destabilize the galaxy and allow Lysander to seize power. Walker and his team prepared for a high-risk operation to intercept the deal and confront Lysander. They executed a daring raid on the location of the meeting, engaging in a fierce battle with Lysander's security forces. The confrontation was intense, with both sides employing advanced technology and tactics. The fall of Lysander. During the raid, Walker confronted Lysander directly. The senator, a master of manipulation, tried to justify his actions with grandiose rhetoric about power and control. However, Walker was unmoved by his words. The fight was both physical and ideological, as Walker's determination to protect the peace clashed with Lysander's lust for power. In the end, Walker's resolve and the dedication of his team prevailed. Lysander was captured, and the deal was thwarted. The evidence gathered during the operation exposed the full extent of the corruption, leading to widespread arrests and the dismantling of Lysander's network. Restoring trust. With Lysander and his accomplices removed from power, the Interstellar Council began the process of restoring trust and repairing the damage done. Reforms were enacted to prevent future betrayals, and efforts were made to rebuild the relationships and cooperation that had been strained by the recent events. Captain Walker and his team were hailed as heroes for their bravery and dedication. Their actions had preserved the fragile peace and ensured that the galaxy could continue moving forward. The experience reinforced the importance of vigilance and integrity in maintaining harmony. A new dawn. As the galaxy emerged from the shadows of betrayal, there was a renewed sense of hope and unity. The lessons learned from the recent conflicts and the internal threats served as a reminder of the strength and resilience required to safeguard peace. Captain Walker and his crew continued their mission, now more committed than ever to protecting the galaxy from emerging threats. The road ahead was still uncertain, but their determination to face the challenges and uphold the values of cooperation and justice provided a beacon of hope for the future. The galaxy, though scared by conflict, looked toward a new dawn, guided by the principles of unity and the unwavering spirit of those who fought to protect it.